This lip with the leopard. Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much for joining me. I should go find her message and tell her like how far I've come since then, and like I'm just a crazy enema freak now. Thanks for joining me. Welcome back. If you're new here, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Andrea Middleton, and today I'm going to talk to you about why I started to do coffee enemas. And the reason is so unexpected, and everything that I've learned since then is why I continue to do it. But I had 8 amalgam fillings in my mouth. I got my first one when I was about 8 years old. And then, I had a great dentist who just kept putting amalgam in my mouth until ultimately my 4 upper back teeth and 4 lower back teeth had amalgam fillings in them. Now, this dentist was our family dentist, so he actually put amalgam in my mom, my aunt, 3 of my cousins. We all had, if you don't know what amalgam is, it's mercury, and it's horrible and wreaks havoc on the body. I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never seen that movie, the documentary called Root, it's called Root Cause, okay? I watched it several years ago and I literally started crying. I started to cry because a lot of the symptoms that I had been struggling with for my whole life, I don't know, I just felt like I had been to so many doctors and so many medical professionals, and I was asking for help and telling them what was wrong with me, and they were like, you're fine, your test came back fine, your blood work came back fine, your urine sample came back fine, you're fine. And I was like, I'm not okay. I'm not a hypochondriac. Like, there's something going on with me, right? And I think that it was twofold. I'm going to make another video about my bout with antibiotics, but it was the overuse of antibiotics, and it was all the amalgam fillings that I had from the beginning of my life. Basically, I was 8, and then I didn't get them removed until my late 30s, right? Or was I 40? I don't know. I saw the documentary Root Cause 5 to 6 years later, maybe longer, I'm not sure. I got to the point where I was like, okay, my husband had really great dental insurance. I had what I thought was at the time a really great dentist. And I started to talk to her and ask her questions about removing all of my amalgam fillings and replacing them with composite. Looking back, I'm not sure if that's the route that I would take as far as like what to replace it with. I finally decided to get them done. I have a little bit of dental anxiety. I didn't have it as a kid. I'm not sure what happened, but I don't like being in the chair now. And I'm doing a lot better because I'm seeing a holistic dentist. That's another story I'll talk to you about in a little bit. But I was so excited to get the silver fillings out of my teeth. Now, if you know what fillings look like, it was just those caps in the top, right? That just look, I don't know, it just looks like you have, like they just put mercury in your mouth. That's what it is. Let me just tell you a little bit of story. Do you know about the story about the Mad Hatters? Obviously, we all know about Alice in Wonderland, right? The Mad Hatter got his name because back in the day, I think it was in the 1800s, maybe it was earlier than that. I'll do some research and put it up here. The Hatters, the men who made the dapper hats for the gentlemen, they would, to make the brims hold their shape, they would dip it in mercury. And they started to find that all these hatters were going mad. And they didn't realize until quite some time later that it was the mercury that they're dipping the hats in. Not to mention the crazy, like whoever was buying the hats and wearing them, like I'm sure they were affected too, but like these hatters that were working with mercury, I'm not even sure how or why you would dip anything in mercury to make, like whatever. They did it and they were all going mad. And so that character on Alice in Wonderland is called the Mad Hatter because of mercury. And I had 8 mercury fillings in my mouth. I will share some links down below about mercury and amalgam and the side effects. Go watch that Root Cause documentary. You will not be disappointed. But basically, our teeth are wired to our brain and to the rest of our body. And when you have an incredible neurotoxin in your mouth that heats up with hot drinks and hot foods. It's like off-gassing directly into the most sensitive area of your body, your nasal cavity, your throat. So I go see this dentist, and I had already been seeing her for a while, and then I told her that I was wanting my amalgams out, and she was like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, okay, so what do you do for protection? Because I saw root cause, but remember, I feel really stupid about this, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. Remember, I hadn't seen that movie in years. Like, it was like I forgot half of what I learned. And so it was probably 4 or 5 years later, maybe 6 years later, that I'm talking to a dentist, a medical professional who I at the time trusted to take my amalgam fillings out of my mouth. She was like, well, and I was like, do you wear like a hazmat suit, or do you have, so I knew enough to know that like we needed to figure it out, right? And I was like, are you going to put me on oxygen? Like, what are you going to do to protect me so that I'm not getting exposed to like whatever we're cleaning out of it? She was like, well, I can do dental dam if you want. Now, if you don't know what dental dam is, it's like this rubberized, like whatever, that they like cut each tooth out and like put it so it protects your gums. It protects your mouth from your throat from anything going down in it. Okay, it's very claustrophobic. I did not like it, but I'm glad that she was like, we could do dental dam, and I said, yes, please, let's do dental dam. Okay, so we do the dental dam. They give me nitrous oxide, which is just something to calm my nerves. And they had no protection, meaning the dentist and the dental hygienist, no protection for them. I'm not sure why that wasn't a red flag for me. I think I was so anxious about the dental work, because to me it was a big feat to have 8 amalgam fillings removed. Okay, so we did 4 one session and 4 the next session. After the first day, I started to get severe headaches. My body started to ache. I couldn't think straight. I was getting dizzy spells. I was seeing stars. I felt so ill. And at the time I had 4 children. I was like, how am I going to take care of my kids? How am I going to do this? Like, I don't feel good. I don't know what to do. I knew that I had done something huge as far as detoxification. I was taking this stuff out of my body. And I still, at this point, and I'm not sure why, knowing how natural minded I am and how everything, like I research everything, you guys I don't have an answer. I went back and allowed her to do the next 4. I got sick. Like, one day I had like vertigo, and my husband had to call out of work because I couldn't even stand up straight. Like, I was ill, and I was just stuck in bed because I was spinning like crazy. And I couldn't take care of my kids like that. It was horrible. I was nauseous, incredibly nauseous. It was miserable. It was so miserable. And I was like, my body, like, what am I going to do? Right. And so I called this, I pulled out my phone and I started Googling places once I started to feel a little bit better. Once I stopped spinning and I started to detoxify in my own terms what I knew how to do. Okay. So I was using cilantro oil because I know that's good at metal detox, and I was taking Epsom salt soaks because I know that's good at detoxing the body, and I was doing what I could at the time just from the basic knowledge of detoxing that I had at the time. I was doing my best, but I wasn't getting better. Like, it wasn't worsening, and like I think I got to a point where it was like really a breaking point. Like, I was freaking out because I was like, my health is declining. I can't even like live, right? This was like in the process of like a month. So I finally was like, okay, I need answers. I need to call another dentist. I started researching amalgam filling removal, and they said that you are never supposed to go to a doctor who doesn't specialize in amalgam filling removal. And the way that they do it was nothing like what she did. She did not take any of the precautions or procedures at all for herself and her team, or for me. Thankfully, because I asked for it, they did dental dam, but what if I wouldn't have asked for that? Like, that wouldn't have even been her basic line, right? I called this other dentist, and it was a holistic dentist. She doesn't take insurance. She was like, well, we could have done it. You would have paid $20,000 out of pocket to get it done, or something crazy like that. It might have been $10,000. Either way, it was like astronomical. And I was crying, and I was like, they were asking me what she did and what her process was. And I told her, and I was like, what do you guys do? What's your process? And they told me, and it was a night and day. And she's like, listen, I'm sorry that you went through this. This is really bad, and your health is at stake. You're at high risk. You need to take extra precaution to take the next 6 months to a year to detox the ish out of your body, okay? And so I went on Facebook and I started searching around for things that I knew. I don't know, say Facebook's a pretty good search engine sometimes. And so back then I stumbled upon a Facebook group page that is all about amalgam fillings, people who have been suffering with side effects of amalgam fillings. And I started asking questions in there, and I was on a bunch of comment threads, and I was learning so much from these people, and I felt like, oh my gosh, these people understand me because they've gone through exactly what I've gone through. Like, my husband doesn't have amalgam fillings, and I don't think that his sisters do either. So he was just like, yeah, I don't know. And we were learning about this all together, but like, I don't know anybody, I don't think personally, other than my cousins, but we never talked about it. So I always felt alone. Like, after I watched that root cause video, I was always like, oh my gosh, I know this is one of the things that's wrong with my, like, causing health issues, but I don't know what to do. I was asking all these questions in this comment section, and this lady like had shared her protocol of what she was doing to detox in a comment thread, like, just like, this is what I did, this is what I did, this, and like, she just was so thorough. And I was like, oh my God, thank you for sharing this. Thank you so much for sharing this, because now I have something that I can try to do at home, to do at home, right? And she was like, oh, you're welcome, and let me go ahead and message you. So this kind woman messaged me on Facebook, and she said, listen, this is going to sound really crazy and it might make you uncomfortable, but I want you to know that I started to do coffee enemas and I started to feel so much better. And I was like, what the hell? A coffee enema? I've heard of enemas before, but at the time, like, I had also heard of coffee enemas, but I thought that that just wasn't very common and only like medicinal in hospitals. Like, I didn't know people were just like putting coffee up the poop shooter at home. Okay. So she told me, she shared links with me. She told me what to buy. She told me what kind of coffee. You can't just buy coffee. You're not just going to go get coffee at the grocery store and like stick it up there. You have to buy a specific type, mold-free, organic, pesticide-free. Like, it's specifically made and harvested and used for enema. Okay, just to make sure that you know what I'm talking about. And I sat on that information for about a couple weeks, and I was like, you know what? I'm not getting better. I need to try this. And I was scared. I was terrified. And I have people, because I talk about this on my Instagram, who are just like, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. I get it. I was so scared, and I didn't know what to do either. But I was so ill, and I just felt so bad in my body that I was desperate to try something. And I did a couple of enemas. The first one, I'm going to do a video on how to do it and everything. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. But the first one was terrifying. There's not a lot of, at the time, 4 or 5 years ago, there wasn't a lot of information on the interwebs about it. I mean, there was, but it's like basic, like, this is how you do it, and this is what you buy. So I was looking on YouTube to like find people who'd be like, here, this is what you got to expect. This is how it's going to go down, and this is what you're going to look for, and this is how you're going to feel, and this is what it's supposed to feel like, and this is, you know, I wanted like details because I'm a researcher, and I wasn't really finding the type of information that I felt like I needed to make me feel confident in going into something like this. So, you know, I found this one video. This guy, I'll link it down below. He was like, watch me give myself my first enema. To me, that was huge. And I was like, okay, so he could do it, I could do it, right? So he did it, and he described the feeling. He described what he was doing as he was doing it. He didn't show anything, you guys. I'm not going to show anything when I tell you about how to do it. It made me feel confident enough to try it, even though I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck. I told my husband, like, okay, I'm going to go. Here I go. I'm going to go do it right now. And so I will tell you, the next day I started to feel clearer, like already. I don't know if you know or not, but coffee enemas really detox the liver, okay? When people are chronically ill, or if they're having to detox because of chemotherapy that they're going through, there's so many reasons why you would do a heavy metal detox, a heavy liver detox, and that would be the most effective is coffee enema. Now, since then, I've done a ton of enemas. I've done apple cider vinegar, salt water, sodium bicarbonate. I think all in all, from then until now, I've probably done about 30 to 40 enemas since then. And I'm doing them once or twice a month on a full moon, because you can get rid of more parasites that way. Yes, we all have parasites. I had a ton of liver flukes. That's a whole nother video. So I started to feel better. I did coffee enemas for once a week for a month, and then I went back to that lady on Messenger, and I was like crying as I was typing to her. I'm gonna get emotional right now. And I was like, I think that it was God that sent you. Like, I needed you, and you showed up and you helped me so much, and it was so tremendous that you were willing to like share this information with me and message me and give me such thorough notes. She was taking notes. She was telling me like, basically, here's a link for the coffee you want and the link for the enema kit you want, and here's this and here's that, and this is what's helping me, and here's all the other things I'm doing, and like besides coffee enema. I just really just poured into her, and I was like, I just want you to know how big of an impact that you've had on my life, because I have 4 kids. Like, I need to feel okay on my day-to-day. I stay home with them, I homeschool them, and you helped facilitate that. Like, you helped me start to feel like myself again, and I just want you to know that I really appreciate you. So whoever you are, if you're out there, I mean, this years ago, I should go find her, message and tell her like how far I've come since then, and like I'm just a crazy enema freak now. I'm not, you guys. I'm not like in love with putting stuff up the poop shooter, okay? Like, it's not like that. It's that I think that I weigh out the options now, but now I'm a pro, because the first time I was nervous and like I was weirded out, and it was like, I can get it done, and I just know what I'm doing now, and it's easy, and it's not a big deal, and I'm gonna have a thorough video covering it soon, and I will link it here or there, everywhere. I just wanted to come on here, and there's so many different reasons though why you would want to do enemas, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I just want you to know that if you need to detox, if you have liver issues, if you've gone through chemotherapy, if you are worried about parasites or exposure to parasites, if you were recently like having amalgam fillings removed, everybody has a different story or a different reason as to why they're going to do a certain holistic DIY at home, right? And my reason, what pushed me into enemas, was the fact that my mouth was filled with metal. And I had a dentist that she didn't take care of me. She didn't do what she was supposed to do, and she didn't protect me the way that she should have, and I got seriously sick. So that wraps up my story time. That's why I started doing coffee enemas. Since then, I've done a ton of different types of enemas for different reasons, and I'm an avid enema promoter. And I just think that if you are scared, that you give it a chance and just try it one time. I think it makes a big difference in your health. Okay, thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.